There is a particular sound a chamber makes when it believes it has you. A settling. The ambient noise dropping half a register. Hundreds of bodies going still, in the way that predators go still. Not out of courtesy, but because the thing they are watching has run out of room. I had heard that sound 11 times in 19 years. I knew it the way you know a smell from childhood. You do not analyze it. You simply know what it means. The Vethrani deliberative conclave made that sound on the morning of the 17th, when presiding arbiter David Sorel read the instrument of diminishment into the floor record. Around me, the 6 remaining members of the Earth mission sat exactly as I had asked them to sit, hands flat on the table, faces neutral, breathing through the nose. To my left, second attaché Mira Fenn was watching the chamber ceiling, with the mild interest of someone inspecting a ceiling she would not be seeing again. To my right, Junior Signals aide Karel Sar had his stylus uncapped and was making small loops in the margin of his notepad. Not writing anything, just loops. I kept my eyes on Sorel. He was a careful reader, Sorel. He had pale gray skin that folded at the jaw like something left in water too long, and he read the way the careful ones always read. Each clause at full weight, each pause measured to let the thing land. He got through the first 2 sections without looking up. The conclave had voted, he said, 31-7, to reclassify Earth's diplomatic floor status from full participant to non-voting observer, effective in 90 days. During those 90 days, the Earth mission retained the right to be present in the chamber, but not to address it. At the 90-day interval, if Earth had not filed for reclassification under the conclave's new client observer framework, the remaining standing would be withdrawn in full. He paused there. He looked at me. That pause was not in the text. That pause was an invitation. It said, respond. It said, protest. It said, give us the satisfaction of watching you understand how small you are. I waited until the pause had gone on long enough to become awkward for him, and then I smiled at him, the way you smile at a person who has just mispronounced something you have no interest in correcting. He went back to reading. Fenn, to my left, produced a sound so quiet that only I could hear it. It was not quite a laugh. It was the noise a person makes when they are being extremely disciplined about not laughing. I put my foot on hers under the table. She went still. Sorel finished the reading. The instrument was now in the floor record. The chamber settled in that particular way again. 419 delegates. Row after row of robes in conclave gray, faces tilted toward the Earth mission's bench, with expressions ranging from satisfaction to curiosity to a sort of professional pity that I found, if I am being honest, the most galling of the 3. Sorel asked if the Earth mission had a response for the floor. I said we did not. He blinked. In 19 years I had seen Sorel blink in surprise exactly twice. The mission declines to address the floor? The mission thanks the presiding arbiter for the reading, I said. We have nothing to add. I closed my case. Around me, 6 attachés closed 6 cases with the small sequential clicks of a thing that has been rehearsed. Not because I had rehearsed it with them. I had not. They were simply people who had worked with me long enough to know the rhythm of a room whose argument was already over. We stood. Sorel asked if we intended to file under the client observer framework within the 90-day period. We do not, I said. Then the mission understands that at the 90-day interval. The mission understands, I said. We left. The corridors of the Vethrani Conclave Administrative Complex are long and white and smell of something between ozone and old paper, which I had never been able to identify and had long since stopped trying to. My footsteps and 7 sets of footsteps behind me made a sound I always associated with this particular building, a slightly too resonant echo, as if the walls were listening and finding the contents beneath their interest. Fenn fell into step beside me. She waited until we had turned the first corner. You smiled at him, she said. I did. In front of 419 delegates. I did. She was quiet for a moment. The conclave's legal chamber is going to file a procedural inquiry about that smile. They are welcome to. What do I say if they ask me what it meant? You say that you were not in a position to speak for the mission head's facial expressions. She made the almost laugh sound again. This time I let it go. We collected the rest of the team at the transit staging area outside the administrative complex. The morning was cold in the way that this particular moon was always cold. A dry, flat cold that did not commit to anything. The sky was the color of a document that had been left somewhere too long. Corelsar, the junior signals aide, had put his notepad away and was looking at his transit confirmation on a small handheld screen. He was 26. He had been with the Earth mission for 14 months. He looked up when I stopped beside him. "Is it in there?" I said. He turned the screen toward me. Transit reservation, outbound from Vethrani Conclave Primary Terminal. Booking reference date, 11 months and 4 days ago. I had filed that reservation 11 months ago, when the Conclave first circulated the preliminary language that would become the instrument of diminishment, not because I knew exactly what they would do, because I knew the shape of what they were going to do, the way you know the shape of a sentence before you have read its last word. "Departure is in 4 hours, Sar said. "Good," I said. "We will have time to eat." He stared at me. He was still young enough that the shape of what had just happened was working its way through him in visible stages. I watched him get to the part where he understood the transit booking, then the part where he understood what the transit booking meant, then the part where he understood that I had known, 11 months ago, and had said nothing, and had simply waited. "You booked it before they voted," he said. "I booked it before they drafted the instrument." He looked at the screen, then back at me. "What happens to the corridor brokerage license when the floor status lapses?" There it was. He was a signals aide, and he had found it in under 30 seconds. I made a note of that, internally, for his file. The Conclave's outer arm corridor network operates under a transit brokerage compact that predates the Conclave by 34 years, I said. The Earth mission holds the original brokerage license. The compact's continuity clause ties the license status to the mission's floor standing. Full participant, non-voting observer, client observer, all covered. No floor standing at all is not covered. Sar turned this over. "So when the 90 days run," he said slowly, "and the Conclave withdraws what's left of our standing, the compact's continuity clause will have no applicable category," I said. "The brokerage license will lapse under its own terms. The Conclave will need to renegotiate corridor access with the Interstellar Transit Registry from the beginning. That process takes, on average, between 2 and 4 years, during which time the outer arm network will operate at whatever capacity it can manage, without brokerage support." The silence that followed was a different kind of silence from the one in the chamber. The chamber silence had been a predator going still, because it thought it had cornered something. This silence was a man doing arithmetic. Fen was looking at me with an expression I did not see on her often. It was not quite admiration. It was the look a person gets when they realize they have been in the room where a thing was happening, without knowing a thing was happening. "They dared us to leave," she said. "They did," I said. "They thought leaving was the loss." "They did," I said. I picked up my case. Behind me, 7 attachés and a 26-year-old signals aide, who was going to be very good at this work, fell into the quiet order of people who have somewhere to be. The transit terminal was a 20-minute walk. The cold was flat and dry, and did not commit to anything. The corridor brokerage compact had 34 years of precedent behind it, and the Conclave's legal chamber had never once read past the first 3 sections. 11 months ago, I had booked 8 seats. I had been patient. That was all it had ever taken.